without risk,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, Senator, 100%.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Fisher. Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Feinberg, welcome to you and your family. I asked the following two initial questions of all nominees before any of my committees to address the fitness to serve. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No.
Now, the DOD will need to cut some 8% off its budget, and again, we wonder how that happens when at the same time other parts of the budget is being increased. But a lot of those cuts, I think, will come from the workforce, which I think we acknowledge is a critical part of our readiness. So here we see that some 5,400 people have already been or will soon be let go from DOD. And these are people who are in probationary status. These are not people getting ready to retire. In fact, across the many departments, people on probation are being let go, 1,000 in DOJ, 250 in SBA. So these are cuts that are happening across the board, not based on any analysis of impact. And there are some 55,000 people on probation within the DOD, and I think the expectation is that many of them will be also let go. There are some 350 people in probationary status at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard. And so these are critical people in our shipyards, as also mentioned by my colleague, Senator Shaheen. So since all of these cuts are being made without any kind of analysis, don't you have a concern about our ability to, that these cuts will have an impact on readiness?
Well, most of the substantial cuts that they're talking about are yet to happen.
Yes, as I mentioned, though, they're happening in those in the probationary status. These are people who just got hired, who are just being trained to serve.
Yeah, so, I've spent a career in restructuring companies and dealing with these workforce issues. If I can get through confirmation, I do think I can add some real value, working with the Secretary, of course, in the process to do that properly, fairly, with the right people. Every organization goes through some turnover when you have really needs to improve. Initially, it's difficult, but the top people will step up, and it can be ultimately
Mr. Feinberg,
improving the culture.
As I mentioned, these are not based on any kind of analysis that you would normally do in the civilian sector, which you are very familiar with. I hardly think that in your business you would just start getting rid of people across the board, especially new hires who presumably went through the process of vetting. Now, regarding the concerns about the purging of senior military officers, I too have the concern. Let me just ask you a series of questions that I expect either a yes or no answer. Do you believe it is important that senior military officers be able to provide their best military advice regardless of politics and without fear of reprisal?
Yes.
Do you believe that it is important that uniformed JAG officers feel free to provide their best legal advice on the fair administration of military justice and compliance with the law of armed conflict?
Yes.
Do you believe in the independence of the inspectors general to root out fraud, waste, and abuse?
Yes.
We are concerned about the summary cuts to USAID, and we're talking about thousands of people who were providing services to not just very important to our own country, but obviously to our allies. Mr. Feinberg, do you agree that gutting USAID funding and personnel endangers our interests around the globe, especially in the Indo-Pacific?
I don't know. I don't have all the facts and knowledge about USAID. and what USAID and what the considerations were in making those decisions, but I do trust the Secretary and the President's judgment on that.
Wouldn't you say that if you were a country or including island nations who receive USAID funds, this kind of cut would be shocking and would have negative impacts on their economy and their people?
Thank you very much, Senator
I'd say
Hirono.
the answer has to be yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. Senator Rounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Feinberg, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to visit me.